Hello everyone, my name is Sahil and I welcome you all into this series on the India's important locations that were into the news into the last 1 year, that is in 2020 and 2021. Friends, into this particular series, we will be taking up all the important geographical locations, rivers, wildlife sanctuaries, national park that they were into the news, why they were into the news, and all the related information with respect to that we will be taking up. And this particular video, friends, will be very much important for the prelims examination, as every year 5 to 6 questions directly are coming from the mapping. Guys, this is the part 2 into this particular series. Part 1 has already been released. You can find it into the description box. Moreover, guys, for the frame of reference, the last year also the mapping locations we have done. So if you want to see that particular series is also there onto our channel. The link has been provided into the description. And guys, here not only the Hindu, the Indian Express and PIB related coverage also we will be doing up. And the entire PDF that we will be using here into this particular video, the PDF has been provided into our Telegram channel. Link is there in description. You can download the PDF from there. So guys, now formally starting up with our session. Now guys, taking up the first entry. So first we will be taking up the Sultanpur National Park into the Haryana, which was into the news. Now guys, the Sultanpur National Park was into the news because it has been given the status of the Ramsar site. Now when we talk about the Ramsar site, these are the wetland of the important ecological importance, and the status of a Ramsar wetland site is given as per the Ramsar Convention, which was signed in 1971 into the Iran. And guys, the Ramsar sites, they are needed to be given the special attention and special care. Now when we talk about the Ramsar, actually a Ramsar is an important convention, and basically there are many of the international partners also into the Ramsar. And guys, there are actually the 6 bodies which work very closely with the Ramsar for the ecological conservation. And what these 6 bodies are, that also we will be seeing here. So there is the BirdLife International. Then the second is the IUCN, that is the International Union for Conservation of Nature. Then the third is the International Water Management Institute. Then after the fourth one is the Wetland International. The fifth one is WWF, that is the Worldwide Fund. And the sixth one is the Wildfall Wetland Trust, WWT. So these 6 of the bodies, they work in close coordination with the Ramsar, and for the ecological conservation they play an important role. So the Sultanpur National Park has been given the status of a Ramsar site. Now guys, the Sultanpur National Park, it was earlier the bird sanctuary and was known as the Sultanpur Bird Sanctuary, and it is located into the Gurugram into the Haryana. And it has been an important site because it is a very important location for the winter migratory birds, and more than 200 species of winter migratory bird, they come here. Now further, talking on to this particular dimension, guys, when we talk about the Sultanpur, earlier I told you that it was just a bird sanctuary, and it was given the status of a national park in 1991 under the Wildlife Protection Act of 1972. Moreover, apart from being a ecological important region, it has been one of a important significance that it is a very important salt pan, and it used to supply large quantity of salt to the Delhi and United Provinces under the time of Britishers. So this was also one of importance of this particular region. Now guys, as this particular site, I already told you, hosts a large number of migratory birds. So what are the important birds that are found here? So there are, first of all, there are the endangered bird species which are found. Now they have been given the status of endangered onto the IUCN Red List, and out of that there is the Egyptian vulture, then there is the steppe eagle, Palhas fish eagle, and the black-tailed tern. So all of these have been given the status of endangered on IUCN Red List, and the most important species of the birds that are found here. Apart from that, there are many of some important animals also which are found, that is the blue bull, Indian fox, black buck, and etc. So that is all guys about the important species, flora and fauna of this particular region. And now we will be moving to the next entry. Now the next entry that we are going to take up is the Lonar Lake of the Maharashtra. Now the Lonar Lake was into the news because of the 2 very important reasons. Reason number 1, that the Lonar Lake, it has been again designated as the Ramsar site under the Ramsar Convention that we have already discussed into the last entry. Now guys, along with the Lonar Lake, there is one more Ramsar site into the state of Maharashtra, that is the Nandur Madmeshwar. So Nandur Madmeshwar is the other site. Now when we talk about the Lonar Lake, lake. The second reason that it was into the news, it is because of that this particular lake turned pink into the color. Here you can see that usual color is like this greenish, but it turned into pink last year. So what was the reason of that particular thing? First of all, it perplexed the people. Then it was concluded by a study conducted by the by many of the research institutions that because of the prevalence of the Haloarchaea microbes, this basically water body turned pink. Now the Haloarchaea, these are the salt loving microbes, and when their population into any particular water body increases, they basically give the distinct pink color to the water body. Now earlier such kind of phenomena have observed into the other parts of the world also, and sometimes earlier into the Lonar lake also this particular coloration have been observed. So the Haloarchaea microbes find the salt, basically the salt loving microbes. Now when we talk about it, guys, there is one more importance of this particular water body. According to a study conducted by the IIT Bombay, it has been said that basically the minerals that are found into this particular water body are very much similar to the minerals that are found onto the moon. So basically the Apollo program, it brought out some of the specimen of the moon, and very similarity has been there. And there is a reason for this particular thing. Why? Because guys, the Lonar lake, it is actually said that the Lonar lake was created by an impact of a meteorite onto the earth. So because of that meteorite impact, it was created, and because of that the mineral composition is similar to the moon, that is one of our region. Now apart from this particular thing, there is also one more importance of the Lonar lake, because it has also been notified as the National Geo Heritage Monument. So guys, as we have the Archaeological Survey of India, similarly there is the Geographical Survey of India, and the GSI gives the status of the National Geo Heritage Monument. And if this particular status is given, more ecological conservation, more ecological importance is to be given. Now guys, this particular status has been given to this particular lake because of the region that into the last few years there is a huge anthropogenic pressure that is increasing onto this particular water body, and because of that the kind of a pollution around the water body has increased. So giving this particular tag will be helping into the conservation of this particular water body. Now this Lonar lake has also found its mention in many of the important ancient scriptures also. For example, into the Skand Puran, into the Padma Puran, and into the Ane Akbari also the mention of the Lonar lake has been there. So guys, these are very important significance of this particular lake. After that, it has been provided that basically this particular Lonar lake, it is into the Buldana district of the Maharashtra, and guys, the Buldana district was very important part of the Mauryan Empire and the Satavahan Empire. So with respect to the history also, there is an importance of this particular lake. Now very high salinity and high alkalinity it is found into this particular region, and it is threatened by the household sewage, and because of this particular salinity only the Haloarchaea bacteria got developed here. Now guys, into this particular, around this particular temple, there are large number of ruins also which are found, fine, such as that is the temple of the Daitya Sudan, which is at the center of the Lonar town. Then there is the Vishnu temple, fine, which is dated to the Chalukyan dynasty. So this is all the importance of this particular site. And now guys, we will be moving to the next location. Now after that, the other location that we are going to see is the Mahendragiri Hills into the Odisha. Now Mahendragiri Hills, you can see that there they are located. They are also very much important because they were into the news, as guys, the Odisha government has decided to designate this Mahendragiri Hills as the second biosphere reserve into the state. Now second biosphere reserve means that already there is one existing biosphere reserve, and that is the Simlipal Biosphere Reserve, which was the first biosphere reserve of the state, and it was notified into the 1996, and now the Mahendragiri Hill, it has become the second biosphere reserve of this particular state. Now guys, when we talk about the Mahendragiri Hills, basically it is amongst one of the highest peaks of the Eastern Ghats, and if we see it into the absolute terms, then guys, it is the second highest mountain peak of the Odisha, and the first highest peak of Odisha is the Diomali. Okay, so this is the importance of the Mahendragiri Hills. Moreover, these Mahendragiri Hills, they have also found the mention into the Ramayana as well as into the Ramayana, and in Ramayana they have been called as the Mahendra Parvat. So that is the historical significance. After that, guys, when we talk about the Mahendragiri Hills, it has also been called that this was the place where the Lord Parshuram, he stays eternally here, and he performs the tapasya into the Mahendragiri Hills. Now, when, guys, the Mahendragiri Hills, the ecological importance is being talked about, it has been called that the Mahendragiri Hills, it is the estuary of genetic diversities. Basically, if you see onto the north, there is the basically Himalayan ecosystem, fine, and on to the south there is the ecosystem, basically onto the south there is the ecosystem of the western ghats, eastern ghats. So basically the Mahendragiri Hills is a estuary where the amalgamation from both the north and the south happens. And when we talk about the vegetation of the Mahendragiri, basically there are the four types of forest that are found, that is the sal forest, mixed forest, grasslands are also found here, and the scrubs, they are found here. And with respect to, guys, the tribes also, the Mahendragiri Hills is a home to two of the most important tribe. First is the Sora tribe, and the Sora has been called as the PVTG tribe, that is the particularly vulnerable tribal group. Now, guys, the PVTG, there are 75 tribes into the India which are even more backward, which are even more marginalized, and these 75 tribes has been given the status of the PVTG. Now, the Odisha is a state where largest number of the PVTG tribes are there. And guys, the list of the PVTG tribe is notified the Ministry of Home Affairs and not the Ministry of Tribal Affairs. You need to keep it into the mind. So the Sora tribe is found here. Moreover, apart from this, there is another tribe which is also found, that is the Kandha tribe. So these are two tribes are also important. Further, guys, it has been provided that with respect to the diversity of the flora also, this particular location is very much important. Out of 41 species of threatened medicinal plants that are found into the Odisha, 29 are found into this particular Mahendragiri Hills, and there on that, because of that particular factor only, it has been designated as a biosphere reserve area. Okay, so guys, that is a very important aspect of this particular site. Fine, then I hope, guys, that you have understood it, and now we will be moving to the next location. Now, the next location that we are going to take up, it is the basically the Ramagundam floating solar power plant. Now, the Ramagundam floating solar power plant is the biggest floating solar power plant of India, and it is being developed into the Ramagundam, which is into the Telangana. And guys, the capacity of this solar power plant will be around 100 megawatt. Now, when we talk about the floating solar power plants, they are very much important. One, guys, in order to basically fulfill the commitment of India under the INDC, we have taken up into the Paris in 2015 the intended nationally determined contribution, and under the INDC we had provided this particular thing that the 40% of India's energy will be meted by the renewable energy, and into that particular direction developing the solar energy is very much important. Now, for developing solar energy you need large land. Now, guys, when the land is a kind of a problem, the floating solar photovoltaic cells could be installed onto the lake or such kind of water bodies, so it helps into that particular way. And guys, second more important of this is that it also reduces the evaporation of the water body due to the incoming solar insolation. So into these two of the fronts, these floating solar photovoltaic cells or the floating plants are very much important. Now, guys, when we talk about the world's largest solar photovoltaic cell, it is also being developed into the India. We will see it into the next slide. Now, basically this solar project, it has been commissioned by the NTPC, that is the National Thermal Power Corporation. Fine. So that is the importance of the first of all solar power, floating solar power plants. Now, as guys, I have told you that the world's largest plant is also being constructed into the India. So it is being developed onto the Omkareshwar Dam onto the Narmada River into the Madhya Pradesh. Okay, and its capacity will be the 600 megawatt. And guys, basically the NTPC, it has taken a target that 60 gigawatt of the renewable energy is to be developed by 2032, and into that particular direction the Ramagundam floating solar power plant holds a very much importance. Fine. Now, when we talk a little bit more about the Ramagundam, guys, here you can see onto the map that here it is the location of Ramagundam, and it is located onto the bank of Godavari river, which is an important lifeline of the Telangana. Now, basically the word Ramagundam, it comes from the two words, that is the Ram and the Gundam. Now, the Ram, it stands for the Hindu god Lord Shri Ram, and the Gundam, it means the water spring. So the water springs which are present here, by that this name Ramagundam has come. So guys, that is all about this particular location. I hope that you have understood it, and now we will be moving to the next location. Now, taking up the next one. So guys, the next location is the Talle Valley Wildlife Sanctuary of the Arunachal Pradesh. Now the Talle Valley Wildlife Sanctuary was again into the news because guys, a kind of a species that have been found here, and into this particular direction the species of a non-venomous burrowing snake have been found here, that is the Trachisium apti. Fine, so this is one of a variety of snake, and apart from these, three new species of tiny frogs have also been found here, that is the Lurana Himalayana, then the Lurana indica, and then the Lunara minuta. Fine, so all of these discoveries were made into the Talle Valley Wildlife Sanctuary, and repeatedly it was into the news, into the Hindu newspaper. Then guys, when we talk about this particular Talle Wildlife Sanctuary, then the 70 new moth species have also been identified, but that is not that much important. These above species of snake and the frog are important one. Now when we talk about this particular wildlife sanctuary, then guys, it is protected area into the Arunachal Pradesh, and it harbors large flora variety. Basically it harbors the subtropical and temperate broad-leaved forest and the conifer forest into this particular region. Then guys, apart from this, basically Talle Valley Wildlife Sanctuary, it has also been called as the mother or the source of the river Pange, and this river Pange, it actually flows from the middle of this particular sanctuary, and then this particular river Pange, it joins the Subansari river. Okay, so with respect to the Pange river, it also happens to be an important region. Then guys, further as we talk about the Talle Wildlife Sanctuary, there are large number of important animal species also which are found. So clouded leopard is found here. Now the clouded leopard has been given the status of vulnerable onto the IUCN red list. Then apart from the clouded leopard, there are some other species, that is the Malayan giant squirrel, Indian muntak, and the Asian palm civet. Now these three species, they have been given the status of the least concern again onto the IUCN red list. Fine, so this is the diversity of animals that is found here into this particular region, very important. So guys, that is all about this particular site, and now we'll be moving to the next location. Now the other location that we are going to discuss is the Orang National Park of the Assam. Now the Orang National Park was again into the news. Why? Because guys, what has happened, the resolution has been passed by the Assam government, and actually the Rajiv Gandhi National Park, which was its earlier name, it has been changed and now it has been converted into the Orang National Park. So guys, the Rajiv Gandhi National Park was earlier name, and now it has been converted into the Orang National Park. When we talk about the Orang National Park, guys, along with the national park, it is also the tiger reserve, and happens to be a very important region for the tiger habitat into the Assam. Now, the location of the Orang Valley, Orang National Park, if we talk about, guys, it is located onto the northern banks of the Brahmaputra river. Fine, and it was originally established as a sanctuary in 1985, and later it got elevated to the status of Thai National Park into the 1999, and then the status of additional tiger reserve was also given in 2016. So guys, this 2016 status of tiger reserve is relatively a recent phenomena. Then guys, this particular Orang National Park has also been called as Mini Kaziranga National Park. Why? Because the similarity with the Kaziranga National Park is there in the form of the landscape that is found. So guys, into the Kaziranga National Park, the marshes, the streams, and the grasslands are very much important, and similar kind of topography is found here. Moreover, this particular Orang National Park, it is also inhabited with the Great Indian One-Horned Rhinoceros, and this Great Indian One-Horned Rhinoceros has been given the status of vulnerable onto again the IUCN red list. So that is also the importance of this particular site. Then guys, there are some of the important rivers also which are here into this particular Orang National Park. See, there are three important rivers: the Pachnoi River, Belsari River, and the Dhansari River. Now the Pachnoi River, Belsari, and Dhansari River, they basically border this particular national park, and ultimately they join the Brahmaputra river. Is it clear? So the Pachoi, Belsari, and Dhansari are the important rivers, and guys, here you can see that this is the Dhansari river, this is the Pachoi river, and they are joining the Brahmaputra river. After that, this particular region also happens to be an important floodplain, and because of the flooding of all these particular rivers, it becomes a kind of a floodplain, and because of that, every year these rivers also deposit the alluvial here, and therefore the alluvial floodplains are also created into this particular region, and they are the integral part of this particular Orang National Park, and they also form the part of the Indo-Burma biodiversity hotspot. Is it clear? So that is one particular important of the Orang National Park. Fine. So that is all. And now guys are taking some more elements of the Orang National Park also. So the national park is also very much important with respect to the diversity or the habitat of different animals. And here we can see that the Royal Bengal tiger, Asiatic elephant, pygmy hog deer and wild boar, they are also found up here, find out here. But guys, there is a very serious kind of threat that is being posed onto the survival of the park and the wild animals due to the anthropogenic pressure that is being imposed onto this particular national park. There are large number of illegal occupations, there are the encroachments that are there, fine, and a huge insurgents are also finding the refuge into this particular national park. So guys, that is all the important aspects with respect to the Orang National Park. And now we will be moving to the next entry. Now, the next entry that we are going to take up is the Dalma Wildlife Sanctuary into the state of Jharkhand. Now guys, this Dalma Wildlife Sanctuary, it was into the news because the Blue Dart, it has taken up the forestation campaign into the Dalma Wildlife Sanctuary, and more than 1 lakh trees were planted into the Dalma Wildlife Sanctuary in association with the growtrees.com. And now, apart from that also, the Dalma Wildlife Sanctuary has also been again into the news because guys of a fire incident that caught up here into one of the bota. So guys, the bota, it is the largest jungle within this particular sanctuary. So for this fire incident also, it was into the news because large number of tribals as well as animals, they got suffered because of this fire incident. So when we talk about more about the Dalma Wildlife Sanctuary, guys, it is located around the Jamshedpur and it is situated around the Dalma Hills, and because of the Dalma Hill, the name Dalma Wildlife Sanctuary has also been given. Now there are different kind of category of forest that are found here. That is the dry peninsular sal, it is found here, fine. Then guys, a northern dry mixed deciduous forest is found here, and the main tree species of this particular region is the Termelias, Jamun, Dhora, Kendu and Karam. And the important animals are the leopard, barking deer, mouse deer, sloth bear, monkey, giant squirrel, and all of them are very much abundant into this particular region. Fine. So guys, that is all about the diversity of this particular region in terms of the animal. Fine. And when we talk about the other important aspects of this Dalma Wildlife Sanctuary, then basically the Lord Shiva temple, which is located on top of a hill within this wildlife sanctuary, it is a very important location. And basically the Dalma was also the major hub for the indigo and the mustard plantations that were there into the time of Britishers, and this also region was also important for the gold mining during the time of the Britishers. Fine. So this is a very important aspect of this particular Dalma Wildlife Sanctuary. Then guys, further when we talk about the Dalma Wildlife Sanctuary, basically this region is also very important for the elephant situation, and it is called as the paradise of the elephant. Now basically this Dalma Wildlife Sanctuary, it is into the catchment area of one of an important river of the Jharkhand, that is the Subarnarekha river. And as it is a catchment of the Subarnarekha river, basically what happens, it provides a kind of a habitat to the elephant where they come to drink the water. And basically the topography of this particular area is such that the elephant, they find ample number of space for their peaceful coexistence. Fine. So therefore for elephant also, the Dalma Wildlife Sanctuary is a very important location. Please keep it into your mind. So that is all about the Dalma Wildlife Sanctuary, and now we will be taking up the next location. Now guys, the location that we are taking up is the Pandav Leni caves into the Maharashtra. Now these Pandav Leni caves, actually it is a complex of the 25 caves into the Maharashtra. They are very much important because they are an important Buddhist site. Now what has happened, the Archaeological Survey of India, it has found 3 more caves into this Pandav Leni cave complex. Now guys, these Pandav Leni caves, they are also called as the Tri Rashmi Buddhist cave complex. So Tri Rashmi and Pandav Leni, they are the same. You don't need to get confused. Now when we talk about these particular caves, guys, these were the shared, the 2 of them were the shared dwellings, and one of them was just a kind of a exclusive dwelling of a monk. So all of these 3 were the living places for the monk, 2 were the shared, and 1 was the exclusive dwelling. So as they are the dwelling places, we can say that they were the vihar type of caves. So these were the vihars, fine, which have been found here. You can see into the picture. Fine. Now these particular caves have one particular characteristics, that they have the verandas, okay, and they have a square stone platform, fine, for the monks, okay, and basically there are even the special arrangement for the monks for the meditation. And into these caves are very much similar to the Kanheri and the Vai caves, so it is a similarity. Now guys, as we talk about this Pandav Leni cave, basically already told you they have been called as the three Rashmi caves, and into this particular capacity guys, there are the 25 caves, and these caves have been developed between the 2nd century BC and the 6th century AD, and according to the Archaeological Survey of India, it has been given the status of a protected site and an important tourist destination. Further guys, the Pandav Leni caves, okay, these caves are majorly, they are the nature of the vihar. Vihar mean that these were the dwelling units for the monks. However, there is one particular cave, that is the cave number 18, which is a Chaitya, and it was constructed around the 1st century BC. Is it clear? Now, as I already told you that these particular caves are the Buddhist sculpture. So guys, they are very significant example of the Indian rock cut architecture representing the Hinian tradition of the Buddhism. Okay, so these are the Hinian cave. You need to keep this particular thing into your mind. Further guys, when we talk about the Pandav Leni, this gives an impression that they might be having some connection with the Pandavs, but no, they don't have any connection with the Pandavas, the characters that were depicted into the Mahabharata. Now, there are other caves also into the region which are very much important, such as the Karla caves, Bhaj caves, Patan cave, and the Bedse caves. So, these are the important caves into the region. Further guys, as we are talking about the Pandav Leni caves, these caves, they have the images of the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and there are the sculptures representing the king, farmer, merchant. Okay, so it shows the vibrant life that was existing at that point of time. Moreover, the type of architecture that has been there, it is an amalgamation of the Indian and the Greek architecture. So therefore, it has been called as the Indo-Greek architecture. Further guys, this particular site, it has important aspects by which we can know that there was excellent ancient water harvest management practice that was also going on. Particularly this picture you can see, it is the picture of the cave number 3, and this cave number 3 is one of the most largest complex of the Pandav Leni caves. And guys, this particular cave complex was built by the Queen Gautami Balasari, who was the mother of the Satvana king Gautami Putra Satkarni, and important inscriptions are also there into this cave number 3. So guys, that is all about the important aspects of this particular cave. Guys, I hope that you have understood it, and with this we have come to an end to the today's mapping series, and guys, into the next mapping part we will be coming out with yet another entries. So that is all for today. Thank you so much.